You sighed, bored. Donnie had called the guys into his lab for something important. And you, not being part of the mutant team, of course were told to wait or do something in the meantime. You suddenly had a great idea. You'd seen Raph's pet turtle, Spike, close by not too long ago. You thought it was weird he had a pet turtle since, well, he is one, but you didn't dare question him about it. Spike was his best friend after all. You understood pet love, but that didn't mean you didn't love messing with Raph. Raph would always be the one to snap or insult you. You were the one to prank him and see if you could make him explode before he attempted to beat you until you turned green as him. Plus, the word attempted is used. It's very true. You are surprisingly strong, and since you trained with Splinter often enough, you were actually almost their skill level. But anyway, back to your devilish plan. You called for Spike, making sure not to yell too loud or you'd alert his trigger-tempered owner. The little green guy appeared, chewing on a leaf like always. You smiled. Hi, Spike. Can you be a pal, please? Raph stole my piece of pizza and blamed it on Mikey. Can you hide out in Mikey's room with me? You asked. The little guy seemed to smile and nod at you. You grinned. You really are the best pet ever, you said. You picked him up gently and hurried to Mikey's room. Mikey said you can go in there if you ever needed to, so now was that time when you took him up on his offer. You cared deeply for the orange-masked turtle. He was always so nice to you and he was fun to be around. You had a similar personality to his. You also had a little demon running around inside you. You walked in and shut the door. Mikey's room was always messy. You decided to clean up some of his things. Other things of his you wouldn't touch because it was weird to you. It was looking better after that. You smiled, proud that you had at least mostly cleaned it up. After that you yawned and laid down on his bed. Spike came over and curled up next to you, as much as a pet turtle could anyway. You smiled and fell asleep. You woke up to an enraged yowl. Mikey! You knew that voice all too well. Spike woke up too and you told him to stay there as you hurried to see what was going on. Raph was chasing Mikey, looking completely ticked. Raph grabbed his arm and Mikey yelped. Let go of me, Raph! I didn't do anything, he said. Then where's Spike? Raph yelled. You quickly stepped in since you were either brave or stupid enough to face Raph when he was angry. Plus, he was mad at Mikey when you had done it, so yeah. You kinda had to help Mikey here. You went up behind him and grabbed Raph's arm. He turned surprised. But it was quickly turned into pain as you twisted his arm back behind him, your nails digging into his skin. Let Mikey go, Raph, you growled. He quickly obeyed and you released him. Mikey sighed in relief. Oh, thanks for that, he said. Raph glared at him. Mikey, he yelled. Before he could do anything, you grabbed his arm again, swept your leg under his, knocking him off his feet, and quickly twisted his arm, making him do backflip in your grip, before smashing into the ground almost face first. He'd used his other arm to stop his head from getting hurt. He looked up at you in shock. He'd obviously never seen a move like that before. You still had him pinned to the ground, so he was pretty defenseless right now. Calm the hell down, Raph. I hid Spike. Now wait here calmly before I break your arm and then make you wait, you said, your eyes blazing. You can be real fierce when you wanted to be. He swallowed and nodded. You let go and left him there, stunned out of his shell. You got Spike and gave him back to Raph. Raph took him and quickly went to his room with his pet. Mikey was staring at you, shocked. Whoa, he said. What? You asked. I've never seen a move like that. Can you teach me how to do it? He asked excitedly. You smiled, returning to your happy self. Heck yeah, come on, you said, and you both hurried to the dojo. You taught him the move and he got the hang of it fairly quickly. Leo and Donnie walked in when Mikey was using it on you. They both looked shocked. Whoa, Mikey, where'd you learn that? Leo asked. Mikey smiled. None other than our good friend here, he said. Could I see it again? I want to see how effective it is, Donnie said. You looked at Mikey. An evil smirk appeared on your face. He grinned and nodded. Sure, Donnie, you said. You shot forward and grabbed his arm, performing the move on him. He yelped as it happened in a blink of an eye. You pinned him there, and he stared up at you with a nervous look on his face. You laughed harder than ever. Mikey was laughing his head off too. You should have seen the look on your face, Dee, he said. You both high-fived each other victoriously. Donnie looked slightly annoyed, but before he could say anything, Leo joined in the fun and said, "Did that answer your question of how effective it is?" You and Mikey looked at him in surprise before all three of you broke out laughing. You fell onto the floor from laughing so hard. Tears even came soon after. When you had calmed down, your torso hurt from it all. Donnie glared at you. Yes, it did. He growled at Leo before leaving you three angrily. Leo chuckled and left too. You and Mikey smiled at each other. "You're so awesome to hang out with," he said. You smiled. "Same to you, man," you said, giving him a fist bump. A few hours later. You were dead tired. You walked out of the kitchen following Mikey while dragging your feet on the ground. He looked back at you and frowned. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. Instead of answering, you tripped and shut your eyes as you braced for the ground. But you never felt the impact. In fact, you felt two large hands holding your arms to keep you from falling face first into the cement. You opened your eyes and saw that Mikey had caught you. You blushed slightly. You'd had feelings for the cute turtle for a long time now. He never seemed to notice, nor show any signs that he felt anything back. He looked concerned, though. "Whoa, careful, man," he said. You blushed out of embarrassment. "Sorry, Mikey, I'm just dead tired right now," you replied. He smiled. He picked you up and you squeaked in surprise. "Mikey," you said. He took you to his room and laid you down on his bed. It was then he noticed how much cleaner it was, and he smiled. "Hey, you cleaned my room," he said. You smiled and nodded. "Thanks," he said. "No problem, Mikey," you replied. Just as he was about to leave, you grabbed his arm. He turned, surprised. You don't have to sleep anywhere else, you know," you said, blushing slightly. He looked confused. You rolled your eyes and scooted over. He blushed slightly. I don't think my bed's big enough for both you and me," he said, not meeting your gaze. You sighed. "Oh, come on, shell for brains," you said. He hesitantly sat on the bed and laid down next to you. You wiggled into his arms and he blushed like crazy. You closed your eyes and relaxed. "Night, Mikey," you said. He hugged you. "Good night," he replied, his voice soft and caring. You smiled and fell asleep in his strong arms. The next day you overheard Raph picking on Mikey again. "That's a new low even for you, Mikey, letting a girl fight for you? Ha! What kind of coward does that?" he said. "I'm not a coward," Mikey defended. "Then why do you let her fight for you? Is it because you like her? Or is it because you're too chicken to fight back?" he teased. You were about to come out and slap Raph across the face when you heard Mikey say, "Leave me alone, Raph. Is that too much to ask?" he said. You were shocked. He sounded so hurt, so sad. You knew even Raph could tell he'd crossed some sort of line. You saw him go into the garage to be left alone. Raph stared after him, shocked. You came out, glaring at him. "Wow, Raph, just wow," you growled and hurried after Mikey. You spotted him sitting alone outside the garage door. You walked over and sat down next to him. "Hey, Mikey, I heard what Raph said. Are you okay?" you asked. He didn't answer. You sighed. You had no choice. You breathed in and out and began to sing. He was staring at you with amusement. You blushed. "I know you can feel like he doesn't care, but I know he does. Even if any one of them wanted to throw you off a building, they never would, okay? Besides, even if something ever does happen, I'll always be there with you, Mikey. Every single step of the way," you promised, staring into his baby blue eyes. You hadn't even noticed you both were slowly getting closer, closing the gap bit by bit. Soon you were almost touching. You noticed a kind of warmth in his eyes you'd never seen before. "Hey, I just..." He didn't finish as your lips connected. You wrapped your arms around him, overwhelmed with love and joy. He pulled you in as close as he could. It broke moments later. You both were blushing like crazy. You smiled at him, happy tears rolling down your face. You latched onto him, burrowing your face into his shoulder. "I love you, Michelangelo," you whispered. His grip tightened. "I love you too," he replied.